for a black woman to wear her natural hair, however that manifests itself, to me is a declaration of power.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel where I teach people how to grow their natural hair to longer length. Alright, so in this video I'll be talking about 3 major ways to protect your hair during the Harmattan season, and while I do that I'll be detangling my hair in the process. I want to detangle my hair in preparation for the next wash day, and the things I'll be using are my hair tea, about tea that I already showed, then my hair oil, followed by my hair grease. All right, so and my detangling comb, right, my white tooth comb. So while I do that, I'll be going right into the topic for the day, which is how to protect 3 major ways to protect your hair during the Harmattan season. All right, so the Harmattan period is a time that has a lot of dryness. The weather condition is so dry, everywhere is dry, and there is a need for um for us to be extra careful with our hair at this period. Why? Because our hair is prone to dryness, and once it's dry, it will be prone to breakage, and the weather condition at this season is not friendly at all for our hair. So that is the reason why we need to be extra careful with our hair. So the first major way I'll be talking about is the sewn in weaves. So the sewn in weaves is, a kind of style that you make with weave-ons. You have to sew, where you make cornrows with your hair, and you sew in the weave-ons upon it, right? Now, this kind of hairstyle is one of the protective styles that is best for this Harmattan season. And why is so? The reason is because, our hair is covered, your natural hair is covered underneath the wig, and aside that, on a normal, the body is producing heat. The body heat of the hair will bring about, it will kind of bring about moisture for the hair underneath. I don't know how many of you have noticed it when you have, during the time that sewn in weaves was common, a lot of, when you want to take it down, you notice that your hair underneath is moist, is softer, it's manageable. So I feel that sewn in weaves will be best for this Harmattan season, because it will cover your hair, and the body heat, it will bring about an extra added, an extra moisture. Your hair will be moisturized underneath. Of course, you would have moisturized your hair underneath before you would have moisturized your hair underneath before, going in with the sewn in weaves, right? So that is the first way to protect your hair during this Harmattan season. Then the second way is to wear your head wrap, right? Wearing your head wrap, this is another way to protect your hair during this Harmattan season. Your hair is being covered at this point. Remember, I said the weather condition, is so dry, it's harsh on our hair at this point, and the best way to protect it is when our hair is covered. And these are the ways that I'm talking about. So having your hair in a head wrap, it's another way. And you don't just go in with your head wraps, with your cotton head wrap on your hair like that. What you should do is get your hair moisturized first, then go in with a satin cap, not a satin bonnet now, because if you wear a satin bonnet, it will not it might not really make the head wrap look nice. But what you should do is to get a smaller satin cap, wear it over your braided hair or your cornrow, and go in with your head wrap afterwards, right? So once you have that, your hair is being protected, like your hair is not being exposed to the dryness out there. So your hair is duly protected within the head wraps. And one of the benefits of having your satin cap underneath the head wrap is that your so that your hair will not be rubbing against the cotton material you're using to wrap around your hair. Except, and aside from the rubbing, which will lead to breakage, it's also going to trap in the moisture. It's going to get the moisture trapped in your hair. So it's acting as an added protection over your hair, right? So having your head wrap is the second way to protect your hair during this Harmattan season. The third one that I'll be mentioning is your African threading, right? African threading. This is another method to protect your hair during the Harmattan season. With the African threading, your hair is duly protected. You have your hair strands wrapped around with yarn or with wool or with anything at all that you might want to use to make the African threading, right? So your hair is only protected underneath, and it's not being exposed to the harsh weather condition out there. So African threading is the third way to get your hair protected. Now I want to mention something that out of the three, you only have access to moisturizing your hair. You only have access to moisturizing your hair. You only have access to your hair for one of the methods, and that method is your head wrap, right? You can easily take down the head wrap and go in to moisturize your hair and all of that. But for the other two, which is the African threading and the sewn-in weaves, you don't have access to your hair underneath. Okay, so what I would recommend is, before you go in with those styles, when you make those hairdos, you plan to take them for at most a month, right? And when you have so for the whole month, you won't have access to your hair for moisturizing and all of that. So what I do normally is, before I go in with those to make those hairstyles, what I do is that I'll make sure that I moisturize my hair properly. Like, my hair will be so 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 moisturized. Like, I'll go in with like a month's worth of moisturizing products, right? So I'll make sure that my hair is adequately moisturized, and then before going to sew in my weaves, or before going in with my African threading. That way, one thing about these two styles is, for the sewn in weaves now, one of the pros is that I already mentioned the pros, which is that your hair, the body heat will bring about, it will trap in the moisture, it will cause moisture to be trapped in underneath the hair, and the hair is covered by, the real hair is covered by the artificial one, right? And it's artificial one that is exposed to the harsh weather condition. So the one underneath is well protected. The only con to sewn in weaves is the salt content that comes with the sweat. So the hair will be filled with a lot of salt content. So that's the only con to the sewn in weaves. While for the African threading, there is no pros, there's no con to it. So once you have your hair adequately moisturized, it will stay moisturized as long as it's not exposed to the weather condition. So it will stay moisturized underneath the threading, underneath it. So those are the two things that you have to take note of when you want to go in with those other two styles. But for your head wraps, you have access to your hair at any time to keep it moisturized. Okay, so these are the three major ways that I know that you can use to protect your hair during the Harmattan season. So if you know any other way that would help people to protect their hair during the Harmattan season, feel free to drop it in the comment section below. So with that, I've come to the end of this video. Thank you so much for staying this far to watch it. I hope you've learned one or two things. So I'm done with detangling a particular section. I'll detangle the rest off camera, and as you can see, I tied the knots. So this is the look that I went for. I went for my African my head wrap. So thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.